I'm serious on my end. All right, welcome
Okay.
back to the Other Side of 45 podcast. In the studio today, we're doing our very first interview for the second year, the anniversary of the Other Side of 45's podcast. We'd like to welcome SK to the studio, to the podcast. Welcome, SK. How are you
Thank you.
doing?
Good. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm excited that we're beginning my second year as a podcast host. And this second season, I'm going to start interviewing. I'm glad to have you as my first guest.
I'm glad to be
So,
here.
I do have some male listeners who are really going to
Okay.
enjoy your point of view. Y'all, we are talking about something very different. Y'all know I love tackling family and generational curses and talking about those of us on the other side of 45 and what we've been through. And SK will not disappoint. I'm going to read directly what he sent me about today's topic. Most women have some experience of being abused or treated like trash by men. I like how he said trash. But we never discussed about men who were abused by women. So guess what we're going to discuss? That's what we about to talk about, y'all. He says, SK, I have some experience in that. So my view changes on how I view women as compared to other guys that I know. Now, full disclosure, folks, he has not told me his story. I really hope this don't go left. So welcome. Let's get right into it. Let's hear your story.
well,
So
uh,
go
well,
ahead.
first off, I just wanted to say the reason why I wanted to do this is because of the Me Too movement, and we heard a lot about women saying the Me Too movement, but we don't hear a lot about guys. And even I tried to like say to my friends like Me Too, and they laughed.
Really?
They, yeah, they were like, "Oh, you're joking, right? Yeah, 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 right. Like guys don't experience that, don't get that kind of treatment from women. But yeah, we get it too. So that's been the experience. Yeah, and
Well,
we
I am ready.
yeah.
So let's hear
so
it.
so for what my story is that ever since I was little, I would get touched inappropriately. Okay, this is like little child who doesn't know much about life or anything. So I would get touched inappropriately by both men and women, but not as much by men, but by girls, like back then by girls. And then as I grew older, also touched inappropriately. And I think a lot of it has to do with just how I was raised, because my dad was a little bit aggressive kind of person. So I was a little, I kind of hold back a little bit and not be as aggressive back towards women. So when I meet these aggressive women, they approach me aggressively and touching me inappropriately and things like that, and I just like I would freeze. I couldn't do anything, and that kind of changes my perspective on life and how people get treated, especially how women get treated. And so when I hear
Absolutely.
about women, getting treated that way, I can relate to it. I can understand why. You know, and there have been times where uh, women would say, even women who discuss being raped, and I was never raped, so that's I don't know that side of the story, but I kind of could relate to it because certain stories that women have told, they would say like they don't know what was going on. They thought it was their fault, that maybe they were you know they did something or said something that made the guy think that that's what they wanted, and that kind of stuff happened to me too back in college also because women were like,
Really?
yeah, yeah, I had a girl that I was friends with, and she was kind of approaching me like that and started touching me and grabbing me inappropriately and things like that, and I just froze. I didn't know what to do. I thought it was my fault. I thought I did something. Maybe I kind of somehow made her think that I wanted to be around her, be with her, even though I wasn't attracted to her at all. So yeah, things like that happens. So yeah, it happens to us guys too. So not just women. So I can relate when women have stories about these being abused, being molested, or something like that. yeah, I was there.
So when you mentioned when you were young, when you were a child,
Hmm.
what age are we talking?
Like very little. Jeez, it's so been so long. Uh, I think probably like middle school, something like that, or even younger than that. I would like at school, I could remember walking through the hall and some girl would just grab my butt, and, and when I tell my friends this kind of story, they laugh at it. They go, "Oh, that's so cool." It's like, no, no, it's not.
It's
it's
not.
not fun. It's not funny. Yeah, yeah, you're pretty much just embarrassed because you're all of a sudden someone just grabs your butt and you're like, oh, yeah, that
How
happens
did
a
that
lot.
make you feel?
It kind of degrading.
Oh
Same
my
same
god.
with what how women feel. Very degrading, and
So
it's
did you tell anybody when you were
mm,
when it first started happening when you were younger?
no, no, no. And later on in life, like in middle school, that really burned into my head was the moment when I was in a bus and these girls, uh, like was it cheerleaders? But don't think of like, oh, this is so cool, this is so hot. I was a little kid, and these were like adult, older cheerleaders, and the main cheerleader uh, came up to me, and she looked like a football player. Okay, so this cheerleader looked like a football player, and she sat next to me on the bus, and they all kind of surrounded me, and she just started, grabbing me and touching me and putting her hands in my pants, and I couldn't do anything about it. Yeah, so I
Wow.
tried. Just like a little kid, I didn't have any power. I tried, try to get her away from me, but couldn't do anything about it. And I just cried, and I cried all the way back home and things like that, and never told anybody about it until I talked about it in therapy last year. So that's why I'm able to put that aside and able to open up more to people and talk about this kind of stuff. But yeah, it happens.
Hmm. I knew that it did happen. I never actually thought about it from the male perspective.
Yeah,
I have a very similar experience than you, and it is more accepted that when we hear things, we automatically think little girls, but we know that it does happen to little boys. But I don't think we
yeah,
always think about how it affects them as they get older. And
yeah.
like what you said, how you treat women, I'm really interested in that. How did
Hmm.
that affect you when you were in college as a young man?
Well, once again, it happened again in college. Yeah, well, I think when it's a stranger, you can fight it. You can like, hey, get off me, But when it's someone that you know that you're friends with, it's a
Hmm.
little bit different. This is why I understand people who women who get raped by someone that they know, and then people say, oh, why didn't you do something? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Well, it's someone that they know, so they thought, oh, maybe they gave the wrong impression. Yeah, that's what I thought too. So yeah, so it does change my perspective, and I'm a little bit more uh, I guess insightful to or sensitive to women's feelings. Uh, but that's, I mean, it doesn't make me a better person or better man because of this. It just makes me more understanding of. I'm just more careful when I deal with women. But with guys, I'm not just like I don't really care. It's just I don't care
So
about
how
their
does
feelings.
that? What does that look like when you say that you're more careful when you're dealing with women?
I'm more careful about what I say and how I act, and a lot of times, women would, I guess, would see me as kind of wimpy because I'm always very careful around women. But around guys, when I'm with a group of guys, they know I'm not wimpy. I mean, I would like say whatever I want to say, But with women, I don't say as much. It's like I don't try to be as aggressive. And I know there are women out there that I date who would rather I be aggressive, but because of what happened to me, I'm not as aggressive. You see what I'm saying? So even like
Yeah.
one time, I'm like, I would ask a woman that I'm dating, "Can I kiss you?" It's like, why do you have to ask me? It's like, well, because of the what I've been through. If it's inappropriate, if it's unwanted, then you don't know. It's like that's how it affects me. It's like I don't know if you want to be kissed or not. So that's why I have to ask.
You were way before your time because you know they tell men to do that now,
Yeah, yeah, I know.
to
I
ask for
back
consent. So you were doing that way
Yeah,
before it was a cool thing to do.
yeah, yeah.
So
So,
I know
but
that you've also
it's just
said,
from my experience. That's why.
well, I mean, yeah, but you have changed how you react and how you interact with women. But you also mentioned to me about sometimes women don't treat you well.
Yeah. Well, because of I guess because of the way I was treated by my dad, and him being so aggressive. So when women are aggressive towards me, it's kind of like a trigger point for me. Uh, that coincides with what happened to me throughout my life. Yeah, so I don't like fight back as much. So I'm not as aggressive back. I don't want to like hurt someone's feelings. I think that's the main thing. I'm afraid to hurt a woman's feelings because I know how it feels
Oh.
when my feelings get hurt. So then I become like a wimpy kind of person. So women kind of see me as being wimpy because I'm not gonna like talk back and be aggressive towards women back. But
So
with
if
guys, like I said,
you're in a relationship, right?
yeah,
And first of all, I want to know what you deem a woman being aggressive with you.
uh,
What do you consider
well,
aggressive?
this is just for me. Not, I can't talk
Right.
for all guys, but for me, it's like someone who curses a lot. Because I keep meeting women like that. That shows aggression to me. It's a turn off. And when a woman like curses every other word, it kind of yeah, it affects me. It's like a trigger point. Anytime when they bring too aggressive, it's in their words and in their actions. It's very it's triggering. And
So
sometimes they'll
when
get
you're triggered,
angry.
what do you do?
Yeah. Well, I don't do much. That's the thing. I let it happen. It's like okay, kind of like when women are touching me inappropriately, I kind of just let it happen. Like don't know what to do. Yeah. So
Wow. So
yeah, it
if a woman is
affects.
cursing and you're uncomfortable, you don't say, please, I can't. I don't
Yeah.
have
Well,
you
I
don't?
know my therapist told me I should, create like a boundary, but I do have a hard time doing that because I'm still trying to process all this stuff, and I'm just going through therapy last year, so I'm still, in that process of trying to regain and build that boundary and things like that.
What made you decide to go to therapy?
I was just with the depression from last year, I guess. Just
A lot
a
of
lot of
people are
depression.
stressed.
Yeah, yeah. So especially with the business and all that stuff, and having to sell the business, and that was a lot of stress. I just couldn't handle it. Yeah.
And
And from that stress led into other discussions about all this stuff that happened to me in the past and things.
oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So, are you currently in a relationship?
No, no, no. Been
But
uh
in
been out for a while.
you've been, how long is a while?
It's a while.
Years?
Yeah, years.
It's been years for me too. Don't feel embarrassed.
Yeah,
But that
yeah.
don't bother me. I'm happy being with me.
Mm.
So, are you happy being with you?
Uh, somewhat, I guess. I could do better.
Look, there's nothing wrong with being in a period of transition. I mean, you're getting the help mentally. You're seeking therapy. You might find somebody. Look, they say you always find somebody when you ain't looking.
Yeah. Well,
So
I'm
if
not
you
looking. That's
you are looking,
I haven't been looking. That's the thing. I don't get out much, so that's why I'm not involved with anyone. So yeah, if I
so
get
if
out
you
more, then I
were
might be.
looking, I just can't even believe you. Okay, if you were looking, how would you look? Where would you go to find somebody? Since you're not
Uh,
very outgoing. His words, not mine.
yeah. Well, I usually just wherever I usually uh go, and I guess the my last girlfriend was worked at a bank, so I go to the bank often with the business. So that's how I met her. So, and I try to.
You hit on the blank employee.
Yeah.
Was that a
Yeah.
healthy relationship?
No, that was but the issues was with her, being very aggressive and things like that. Yeah,
So
eventually I had to end it.
so when you say she was very aggressive, we talking about she used foul language?
Yeah, and
Have you
very angry all
ever?
the time.
She did what?
She was very angry all the time. Like, I don't know
Oh,
what the issue is, and maybe she had some issues of her own. So yeah, but
so
I
did
keep
you
meeting women
ever?
who are,
You keep
uh,
picking aggressive.
yeah, I keep picking women who are like just gets angry at me. I don't know if it's my fault. Am I doing something wrong?
Why would you? How long did that relationship last?
Probably about 4 months.
You put
Yeah,
up with that for 4 months?
yeah.
Did it ever get physical, meaning that she put her hands on you in
No,
an
no, no,
aggressive way?
no, no. No one has ever been like hitting me or anything like that. It's just more, you know, kind of yelling at me and getting angry and I don't know.
But
Yeah,
that's how your father was, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, my father was also physical. He beat me. So
Oh, I did
yeah.
not know that your father, he physically abused you too.
Well, not like sexual, but
I said
physically beat.
physically, not
Yeah, yeah,
sexually.
yeah, yeah. With a
God,
belt. Yeah, yeah. He pretty much stopped beating me once he figured out that it doesn't affect me anymore. It doesn't really hurt me anymore. So yeah,
you just went numb and
yeah.
you just let it
So
happen.
yeah,
So
just like
that's just your
other
way of
time.
coping. You just let it
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. There's nothing I can do about it. Because as a kid, it's sort of like that story with an elephant. When an elephant is small, you tie them up and they can't move, and when they get bigger, you still use that same rope, and they still won't move because they still think that they can't escape, even though they can. Just like one tug, and they would have been out, but they don't. Yeah, so that's how it was for me. I guess that's the best analogy.
That's a good analogy. So you
Yeah,
felt stuck.
yeah. So I guess there's still that rope that's still there. I just need to like just I know that I'm old enough now that I'm strong enough to just pull away and just tear it out.
But you can't.
Uh, I'm working on it.
Well, I hope that you do work on it and that you find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Which,
Well,
what are
well,
you
well.
looking?
I think like speaking out and being open like this kind of helped a lot. Yeah, because when I spoke with my therapist, it helped a lot. Helped me a lot to really get that strength back, and being open like this and talking to you helps me get that strength back, and I can pull the rope. Yeah.
That is
So
so awesome. You
yeah.
pulling the rope, SK. He is pulling the rope, and we are rooting for you because that is a very disturbing story. So, do when you so you said you didn't go to therapy until last year, but up until then, before you went to therapy, did you think about or remember what happened to you as a child?
Yeah, I pretty much remember everything that happened to me as a child. So yeah, there's multiple times where women do abuse me and things like that. So, and I grew up with a lot of women in my household, so that's why I have a little bit more respect and not to talk back and things like that. So I'm in a different category. And when guys see me around women, they kind of think like I'm being a wimp or something like that. But I'm just trying to be respectful, nice, and I know nice isn't a good thing anymore. But yeah, I just uh try to be careful with with women, I guess.
So, when you're around women, let's say at work,
Uh,
do you find it difficult to work with
mm,
women?
well, like I said, I grew up with a lot of women, so I'm more comfortable being around women than being around guys. Because
Why is
when
that?
I think
Why
around
do you
guys,
doubt?
well, like I said, I'm more aggressive around guys, and
So, what does
with
your aggression look like around if you were around guys? What does that look like?
it manifests in different ways. If I'm not provoked or anything, I'm fine. But if
If they
some guys
poking,
wanted to, yeah, if they're poking me, then yeah, I fight back. Like
really?
like in the yeah, because like I told you, I was in the military and I was in
Yes.
basic training. Well, yeah, only the guys in the military knows what I'm capable of. So yeah, I can go there.
And
Yeah,
I would be shocked because all
yeah.
I know from you is that you've been always been very sweet. I wouldn't I would have never described you personally as a wimp. I think because when you and I crossed paths, I just saw a really nice guy. And so I don't equate a really nice guy with being a wimp.
Well, that's
I
how I kind
don't
of seem. Like I feel like that's how women see me because that's when they
really.
kind of abuse me and say whatever they want towards me.
Have they
And
ever actually said that they thought you were a wimp?
I, I not quite in that word, but the way they treat me, it's kind of yeah, it kind of feels makes me feel like I'm a wimp or something. And I guess maybe I make myself feel like I'm a wimp. Yeah, more so
I
because
mean,
I don't want to like I don't want to talk back or strike back at a woman when if she's being aggressive towards me or saying bad things towards me or things like that.
so if you're not respond, so are we talking you just don't respond at all?
Uh, well, it depends on the situation. Kind of depends on the person too. If I know them well, I might respond some, but strangers probably not as much.
Wow. I just would never. I don't know. Part of me is real curious about how you aggressive in front of men because I just don't see that in you. And I know you were in the military, so I know you have that in you, but you don't seem like the type. Not something about. I also wouldn't call you a wimp either. Like for me, at my age and stage in life, having somebody who respects women is actually a good thing. You
Well,
know, I want somebody that respects women. I want to have. I only would hang around men who respected women, and I wouldn't say, "Oh, he's such a wimp," or yeah. No, I would say this is a very respectful person, and this is why I choose to have these type of people in my circle. But I'm also very aggressive. I don't personally curse. It's just never been my thing.
well, for
But
me, if you're
I'll
aggressive,
come
it's
at you.
okay. Yeah, if you're aggressive, it's okay. It's just when I'm in a relationship, when I'm on a date, that's the trigger point.
So you don't like to fight, do you?
No, no, I don't like to fight.
Because I like to fight.
I'm not. I'm not a fighter.
I love to
But
fight.
it
I
like,
mean,
but like I said, if I'm with a guy, bunch of guys, I have no problem. I have no problem.
you gonna hold your
I'll
own.
I'll I'll go full on. Like they want it. I'm like, you want to fight? Let's go.
Coming
I
get
take my glass up. Let's go. Let's go.
you ain't taking off the glasses. He take off his glasses like women be taking off their earrings. They be like, "Oh, we finna do this." He taking off them glasses and he's like, "Okay, you asked for it. I'm gonna bring it to you." I
Yeah.
love that. Well, that is awesome. We are not going to take too much more of your time, SK. You have been a wonderful first interview. And
Thank you.
I absolutely want you to come back on the show because I know him personally. We used to work together and he has a lot of great topics. But I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna embarrass him. And it's too late because I'm recording. I mean, I could delete it. I'm just not. He should start his own podcast. I have encouraged him to. He has a lot of great topics that I think that he would do very well as being a podcast host. So I am going to encourage him. If he actually does his own podcast, I will let y'all know so y'all can go and listen to him because he's a nice guy and not a wimp. I think I love that. A nice guy but not a wimp. And I like that you talk about the Me Too movement. We don't really actually hear men
Yeah.
talk about that.
And we get laughed at if we talk about it, so that's why you
You
don't hear a
actually
lot.
had people laugh at you.
Yeah.
Men
When I
laugh
try
at
to
you.
me too.
Oh, that is awful. I really hate that. And my followers, my listeners are going to empathize and they're going to be like, that's not funny. Because we attract the more mature crowd who understand those things like that. It's not funny. Well, we're going to end our first episode of. See, I want to say season, but I decided not to do seasons because I wasn't sure how long I was going to do podcasts. So I'm trying to say season, but in my head, I know it's not a season. It's the second year. What do you call that? Year 2, right?
Anniversary.
This you are the anniversary episode. I should play the song. It's my anniversary. But considering what we was talking about, that would be incredibly inappropriate. So I won't say that. But thank you so much for being on. I look forward to hearing from you again. Thank you, SK.
All right. Thank you.